What is up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, to Rockin Robbie Live. It's been a long time since we've done one of these, but I am your host, Rockin Robbie Bills. How is everybody doing? Super excited to see some people already in the chat. I know it's been months since we've last done one of these things, but it is Rockin Robbie Live. We're going to gather. We're going to talk about comics, movies, pop culture, all kinds of things like that. Big news tonight, though, is that we will be revealing the entire lineup of Horror Fest 2026. We'll be doing that probably in about an hour. And in 2 hours, you can catch me over at Dylan's Horror Show, where we will be talking, where Horror Fest is never ending. We're going to be talking about Match. That's going to be at 9 p.m. Central Time tonight, shortly after we wrap up here on Rockin Robbie Live. This was a Tubi original film that I watched today, and very excited to chat about that. But welcome, one and all. It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to, but you know what? We are here, we are live, and we're going to be chatting. So let's go for it. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram and the PCP Army, and Facebook is where we are the most active. Me and, of course, all of the homies who make up the excitable PCP crew. So it's been a while since I've done this, so I don't really know how we used to always start this stuff. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to go to the chat. Dr. War God is here with firsties, and I'm glad that this is the first comment because we'll go ahead and address this. He says, if this is truly the last show, it has been an honor. You and the extended community have blessed me by increasing my love and passion for comics. Thank you for being with us on the journey of this rewarding hobby. Well, I really appreciate that, Dr. War God, immensely. I like, from the bottom of my heart, I'm humbled by that very awesome statement. This is not the final episode of Rockin Robbie Live. So what happened was I haven't really had much of the time, energy, and at times, honestly, passion to be doing Rockin Robbie Live the way we used to do it, especially like every single week. We would chock load the show filled with bits and all kinds of fun stuff. And, you know, it's been a while since we've really been able to get into that. Life has definitely taken some turns and some things have changed, especially in my job, my professional job in which I run a comic shop. I have more to do now than I have ever, right? And so trying to balance that with a social life and, of course, PCP life, it's caused Rockin Robbie Live to kind of slide under the radar, kind of like the weekly pop culture wrap-up kind of just went away. I never intended it to go away, but it did. Same thing with Rockin Robbie Live, right? And I just hit a point where I was like, you know what? Why not just have a final show, end it? Because I did, so there is a new, so there's that. But in addition, I've met a whole new crew of homies. Some actual professional comic artists have moved into our city, and they are studio mates with my buddy Kevin, who we're working on a Mortex. Don't worry, we're still working on that book. It will happen, but it will be worth it because it's going to be like 60 pages long for the first issue. It's nuts what we've decided to do there. Anyway. But hanging out with them at the studio with Kevin, and they're the ones that did that Godzilla cover, the Horror of Godzilla, issue number 1. They did an exclusive cover for it. Anyway, so like hanging out with them, talking comics with them, and Kevin has kind of gotten me and Kevin reignited in our passion of comics, and just knowing like people our age that read the same kind of comics and the same kind of creators and like love, like Don, for instance, one of these dudes loves Mike Allred. I've loved Mike Allred. You know that, right? Jane, his wife, and art partner, partner in life and partner in art. That's so beautiful, actually, when you think about it. But she is a huge horror movie fan, for instance, and she loves like Sandman, Neil Gaiman, big Neil Gaiman fan. So I have a lot in common with them and like what they're into. And so like we've been all hanging out, all that kind of stuff. It gave me an idea to do a show called Rockin Robbie and Friends Live. So then I decided randomly one day, we're going to end Rockin Robbie Live, and we're going to shift it into Rockin Robbie and Friends Live. But when I made that announcement, and I made that announcement on Facebook and on Instagram and things like that, when I made that announcement, I had an outpouring of comments and messages of people being like, man, this really sucks. I hate it. And I'm like, it's kind of already over, right? We haven't really been doing Rockin Robbie Live. It's kind of already over. But hearing everybody's thoughts about it and how devastated some people were, and I don't know, just chatting, I don't know, something has changed since I made that post. And this is definitely not the last episode of Rockin Robbie Live. And in fact, we're about to embark on Horror Fest, and we've brought back Dylan's Horror Show. So Dylan's Horror Show, we've been doing every other week or so. It was started off with just me and Dylan, but Fable's been joining us lately, and we got some more people lined up to join us, especially throughout Horror Fest, because I can't do every single Sunday night show. However, I will be doing a majority of those Dylan's Horror shows throughout Horror Fest. And so if I'm going to be at home anyway, why not like do a little bit of a pre-show with Rockin Robbie Live until I figure out the details of Rockin Robbie and Friends Live. And then why rebrand? Why have a new show called Rockin Robbie and Friends Live? Why not just have it be Rockin Robbie Live? And if I want to have some guests on, why not just do that? Do you know what I'm saying? I could totally do that. It's my channel. I can do whatever the hell I want, right? So I think instead of this being the last show of Rockin Robbie Live, I think this is a milestone episode, because I think that doing this show and building up to it has reawakened something within me of this, because this is my direct connection to you. Like, yeah, I read y'all's comments. I never respond to those. I should do better at responding to comments, right? But doing Rockin Robbie Live, it wasn't about the bits. It wasn't about the Hellboy song. It wasn't about this. It wasn't about that. It was always about me and you hanging out together and just chatting about pop culture and what we love about it, and discovering more about each other and ourselves through our shared love of pop culture. That was always the idea of this channel. And it's still what we do. We just don't have shows every day anymore, right? But we still have our anchors, the weekly comic book review, which is about to hit 10 years nonstop. If I can make it 2 more months, right? Like 8 more weeks of a weekly comic book review every week, that means I have accomplished the goal of 10 years of doing a weekly video review of a bunch of the comics that come out on that new comic book day. I don't think anybody else has done that. I think that's awesome. I love the idea that I've done at least one thing that I think nobody else has done. So in the history of the world, but who knows? You know, who knows what the world was like 500,000 years ago. So anyway, this is not the final episode of Rockin Robbie Live. This is just the start of a new phase of Rockin Robbie Live and a slow return. So you can think of this as the soft opening. So when's the next one? I don't know. Maybe it won't be next week, but it'll probably be 2 weeks from tonight when we're doing Dylan's first episode in Horror Fest. And like I said, the Horror Fest lineup will be revealed probably at the top of the hour. Let's get through some more comments. Dr. Wargod's got some good ones. I guess he thought if this was the last Rockin Robbie Live, let's get some thoughts out, right? So Dr. Wargod says, what do you think is in store for the industry over the next few years? Will the Absolute Universe continue to be the driving force for renewed interest? Can X-Men make a comeback in 2027 and beyond? All right, Dr. Wargod, great question. What do I think is in store for the industry right now? I think we're in a good, healthy spot for the industry. There's a lot of people that are coming in because of books like the Absolute line, and they're actual readers, okay? Nothing against speculators or dealers or whatever, right? Nothing against that, or whatnotters or anything. Like, nothing against anybody who does, however, nothing against anybody for choosing their own way to participate in this industry. You know what I'm saying? That being said, it is very heartening to me to see what's happening, and it started slowly with like even the revival of the Ultimate Universe, right? Ultimate Spider-Man was like a small like drop in the water, then the Energon universe, and then the popularity and the resurgence, the incredible surge of popularity of Invincible over the last couple of years. And then you got Absolute, in particular, Absolute Batman, which as a retailer, I'm literally just like, how much money do we want to make this month? And I guess it depends on how many copies of Absolute Batman I'm ordering. Like, it doesn't matter. It flies off. But what is happening is it's not just people speculating, which there is that, and that's cool and that's fine. But it's a lot of people coming in to read the book, and they're getting into the book by reading it, right? And they're coming back and trying out other things. Then it's the perfect storm where they come back for the next issue of Absolute Batman. Maybe they try Absolute Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Superman, Flash, GL, whatever it is, right? I mean, Green Arrow, Absolute Green Arrow. Look at the numbers. I mean, you can't really see the numbers. They don't really reveal them, but I can get an idea of the numbers based on my shop comparatively to other shops. And I don't think there's ever been a Green Arrow book that sold this many copies, at least not in my modern lifetime. That being said, I think that's going to continue. And you're seeing it outside of just DC stuff. Plus, Perfect Storm, like I was saying, DC compacts, $10, little tiny manga size things, right? And what I love is that, like, I was talking about this last night. My buddy Kevin had his birthday party at the studio. And we were talking about this, and I was like, Scott Snyder's able to flip the script just enough where Absolute Batman is still familiar to Batman fans through even if it's just through pop culture osmosis, but also at the same time, Nick Dragata's artwork bringing that heavy manga influence. So I kind of been telling everybody it's like the complexity of the narrative of like a Dark Knight Returns told in a Katsuhiro Otomo type way. So it's like Frank Miller meets Katsuhiro Otomo, who's the guy who did Akira, who's one of my personal favorite writer, artist, cartoonist of all time is Otomo. I love that stuff. I want more of his work. It's really hard to find here in the States. All I really have is Akira. What else? What's that one? I remember the movie Steam Boy. I do have that somewhere. But what was what's the book? The Domu? Domu? That's one I've always been trying to find and just have not had a lot of luck with that. But I believe that this is going to continue for a little bit, and I think it's going to build a readership. And I don't think it's going to go back to like the way it was in the 80s and the early 90s. But I think we're good. I think we're good right now. We're in a good spot. X-Men, however, I don't think the X-Men are in a good spot. And I don't think they're going to make it. I don't think they're going to make a comeback in 2027. Maybe towards the end of 2027, when we have more of the decisions from the new leadership coming through. But that's going to be difficult to affect X-Men because if it's been a while since we've chatted, but a lot of you are aware CB Cebulski is leaving as editor-in-chief of Marvel. I think that is a needed move. Another guy has come in. I kind of forgot about him. I've asked around in the industry about him, and what I'm hearing from some people is that they think that this is a transitional kind of a replacement, and they're actually going to try to set their eyes on somebody else. But I don't know. That's all just hearsay. I hear it from a few people, and then other people say, nah, I don't really know. Or they think that this guy what I have heard is this guy actually likes comics. So that's good. I don't even remember his name. But anyway, so there's new leadership. However, Tom Brevoort is still the group editor of the X-Men books. And I don't think Tom is being removed, but I love Tom Brevoort. I really do. I think his work editing the Avengers titles from the 90s through the 2000s was exceptional. He actually turned the Avengers into a bankable franchise, something like the X-Men, right? Which the Avengers weren't ever in my lifetime. Like when I was a kid growing up, it's all about X-Men and Spider-Man and Batman, right? So I think Tom is so anchored in already in whatever position he wants to do, probably at Marvel, that I don't think he's going to relinquish power or that they're going to expect him to. But I think he's got to go. Honestly, I think he's got to go as the X-Men group editor. And I think you got to bring in not just new writers and artists. I think you need to bring in like a whole new editorial team, a whole new refocus, and try to reconnect with the X fans with what made X-Men work every iteration and make it relevant for today. Don't live in the past. Like, I'm not saying you just need to go through and, well, we got to do what Jim Lee and Chris Claremont were doing when they sold that many copies of the book or whatever, 7 million copies or something. No, it's not that. But what made X-Men so popular in the early 90s? What made X-Men so popular in the 80s? What made Grant Morrison's run highly respected today, even though at the time it was very polarizing? These big moments in X-Men history, what was it that excited people? We need smart editorial and very talented creative people who are then allowed to create. Look at what DC's doing right now with Next Level, bringing in people and allowing them to cook. And I mean, James Herron on The Demon, Darcy Van Polgeest on Doom Patrol. Get the F out of here. Are you kidding me? That's awesome. We need what DC's doing right now. We need Marvel to do that, in particular with the X-Men titles. Will the pioneering storytelling of Camp and Prince make it into flagship monthly titles? As far as Dennis Camp, absolutely. It's already happened because he was doing the Ultimates. And however, just announced him and Javier Rodriguez are doing Batman Shadow of the Bat. And that's going to be an in-continuity, ongoing, monthly Batman comic. So yes, W. Maxwell Prince. I'm very excited to hear that Dead Man, which I think has been fantastic, got extended to 12 issues. But I don't ever see W. Maxwell Prince taking over one of the flagship monthly titles. Dennis, I definitely think will at some point. DC, like Shadow of the Bat is kind of like, if you look at the Batman titles and if you want to liken it to something like minor league baseball, right? So you could say that like writing Batman is like being in the majors, and writing Detective Comics is like AAA. Shadow of the Bat would be like a AA kind of thing, right? Like our local team, the Rocket City Trash Pandas. But yes, so I say yes for Camp, definitely. Prince maybe not so much, because his work is a little bit more obscure and challenging for some people, I think. What's up, GT Key Comic? How you doing? The Ultra Rooster is here. A cock-a-doodle-doo to you, my friend. What is up, Two Gun Pedro Station? Pew pew. We got a great Horror Fest show and tell that is from Two Gun Pedro today. So that's very exciting. Rogue Collecting is in the house. What's up, homie? Gun Fanatic is here. How you doing? Sun One TSF, how you doing? We got Anthony. Man, some of y'all's names I haven't seen in a minute because it's been so long since we've done a Rockin Robbie Live. 9-panel grid. What's up, E? Nice to see you here. We had a great show with E and Stu and Greg from Bearded Comic Bro Thursday night when we did our favorite comic books of July. That was a great conversation. We even had Greg Katzman, who is one of the publicity marketing directors for IDW, pop into the chat. And also superstar artist Dev Promanik from Moon Knight popped into the show. And that was really, really fun. CNSS 84 says, always great to catch Rockin Robbie live stream on a Sunday. Station, brother. We're here for it. Well, I'm here for it too, and I'm glad you are. Introspect is in the house. What's up? Station to you. Dark Fizzo is in the house. We got Two Gun Pedro giving everybody the link to the upcoming Dylan's Horror Show, which is tonight at 9. Fact, Two Gun, I heard that you were the one that suggested the movie that we're talking about, which is a Match, which is a Tubi original. Watched it this morning. Me and my girl woke up. We had some breakfast. I ordered breakfast. I didn't make breakfast in bed for her, but I ordered breakfast in bed for her. And we watched this movie, and it might have been a little crazy for her first thing on a Sunday morning. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting conversation. William, what is up? Cannot wait to see the Halloween list. Yes, Horror Fest. It is on the way, y'all. It is super It's the biggest horror fest of all time, y'all. I'm not trying to oversell it, but it truly, truly is. We are covering 69 movies in total across 6 channels, and we literally will have you completely covered most every night of the week, especially in October. And then the final week, we will have a show every single night. So I'm very, very excited for the big reveal that's coming. What's up, D? How you doing? Hey, we got Jesse say, what? How you doing, my man? Damien, Sleepy Reader 666 is here. Hey, Robbie. And it's the best review show, too. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm here to connect with you and the PCP Army. Exactly. That's what I love about what we do. You should ask us fans, what is the top 5 horror films you and the team can review that has not been touched? Well, that would be difficult, man, because between all the channels over the years, we've done so many. But yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. Go ahead, give me your top 5, William. I'm sure Two Gun has probably sent me so many movies that would comprise multiple top 5s. But yeah, what horror movies would you like to see us cover for a future horror fest that we haven't done? CNSS says, I enjoy rereading my comics during these live streams. Sometimes the chat inspires a certain book. Feels like being back in a bookstore like the old days. Yeah, or like a comic shop on a Wednesday, right? Heck yeah. Do I think that Marvel's Midnight Universe will give them a little spark? Excuse me. Honestly, no. I don't. I think so many people got burned when Hickman did House of X, Powers of 10, and then he kind of left, and Marvel didn't really pay it off right. And so I think that that's going to undercut him on X-Men again with a new bold vision. I think people will check him out, and if they're good, they can get word of mouth. And if they're good, I'm going to like promote them. And I mean, but you know what it really is it just feels like a desperate attempt to try to recreate the success of Absolute, which is crazy because Marvel had just rebooted the Ultimate Universe to huge success. And then DC does Absolute, and everybody is like, this is DC ripping off the Ultimate Universe. And we all said it. And it, even at the beginning, it didn't quite hit or become the phenomenon that it is for a few months, right? But what happened was the Absolute books really started cooking. People were really liking them. And then the Ultimate books, especially after Marvel announced they were ending, right? And then everybody's like, well, why be invested in this when it's just going to go away? So then the Ultimate interest goes down and the Absolute interest goes up. And now Marvel's scrambling, trying to figure out their answer to the Absolute universe, which was DC's answer to the Ultimate universe. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't think a horror-driven corner of the Marvel universe is the answer. I think top-notch talent on the flagship books is the answer. And that top-notch talent being able to be allowed to create. Like, crazy idea, but why not give Daniel Warren Johnson 25 issues of Thor? Do whatever you want. Why not? Twitch, what's up? Long time no hear from. How you doing, brother? Yeah, the DC compacts are printed on that sweet, sweet newsprint. Helps keep them cheap. Ghost in the Shell and Monster you should read. I have read Ghost in the Shell. I really like Ghost in the Shell. But I have not read Monster. But I want to. Monster and 20th Century Boys is, I think, the same guy. Yeah, I would love to see that. Are you seeing younger customers in your shops, 20s or teens? Yes. And they're buying manga. They're buying Pokemon cards. They're buying anime. And they are snatching up Absolute Batman, Absolute Green Arrow, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Superman, Martian Manhunter, like all the Absolute books. That's what they're snatching up. They're snatching up a lot of the new DC Next Level stuff. People are jumping in. Lobo, Deathstroke, Firestorm, the Jeff Lemire Firestorm, Raphael Albuquerque, I believe, on the artwork. Could be wrong on that because that's the guy who's doing Absolute Green Arrow. So I'm wrong on that. I don't remember. Anyway, yes, I'm seeing it. And also Ben 10. Sales on Ben 10 from Dynamite are insane. And I'm not just saying that because Dynamite are friends of the show and one of our sponsors, but they're just killing it with Ben 10. Man, it's really good. It's really freaking good. Hey, what's up, Derek? How you doing? Marvel has had a number of good books right now between the Al Ewing books, Moon Knight, Chip Zdarsky stuff, and the Ultimate Universe. Unfortunately, everything is pulling the brand on different directions and nothing feels cohesive. It doesn't feel like Marvel has overall direction. I do agree, though, Twitch, that there are some really, really solid books at Marvel. Moon Knight being one of them, Infernal Hulk being one of them, Mortal Thor. Those books are really good. Unfortunately, Amazing Spider-Man is just not grabbing everybody. X-Men is lackluster to a lot of people, and more people are interested right now in the Absolute books or Ben 10 over that shit, right? And then the Kirkman stuff too. Like you got the Energon universe, which has cooled off a little bit, but it's maintained like a steady pace of sales. But Invincible, like it's crazy the success of Invincible years after the fact. And even now I'm finally reading it. I'm 80 issues in still. I hope to find time this week to get back into my Invincible read because it's also hindering me from reading other comics and other books, you know, that I would love to read. Yeah. So I got to finish that Invincible reread because I got a lot of Omen films to watch this week. I'll tell you that. And then he says, Uncanny X-Men has been good lately with the New Mutants and the Vampire Gambit. I would say that I think that there are shades of good in Uncanny by the Gail Simone and Vicio, I think, doing the artwork there. And Jed McKay's X-Men. There's things there that are interesting, but it's just not it. You know, it's just not there. And it needs to be more there. But I would say Uncanny X-Men is probably one of the better X-Men titles. What does everyone think of Soule on Venom and Zdarsky on Avengers? I'm super psyched. I'm very excited to hear that Eddie Brock is returning as Venom. Zdarsky on Avengers, we'll see. I'm enjoying his Captain America run right now, and I'm digging Avengers Armageddon enough. So I'm excited to see what happens there. Seems like Chip works better over at Marvel for some reason. Sleepy Reader says, feels like another problem for Marvel is every popular character / group has far too many titles every month. Yes. And it wouldn't be as big of a problem if people were more excited about the books. Like when the X-Men books were really popping back in the 90s, yes, it made sense to have Uncanny X-Men and Excalibur and X-Force and X-Factor and a Wolverine title and a Bishop series here and there or a Psylocke series. Nowadays, not so much. It doesn't really seem to be justified based on everybody's excitement levels or the critical responses to the books or even the commercial responses. The latest Venom comic was solid with Eddie in prison. Yes, the Queen in Black. Venom Unchained. I actually did like it. I did. Chocos, what's up? Chocos 26. Nice to see you, buddy. Can't wait to see you at another con again. William says, Shadow of the Bat needs to focus on the Batman family. Saves on the miniseries. That could be it. But I also kind of want Dennis and Harvey just to cook on Bruce, too. You know what I'm saying? Imagine Kelly Thompson writing X-Men with Jean Grey as the leader. Could be good, especially if she was given some free reign. Kelly's worked in the X-Men books before. She did Rogue and Gambit, Mr. and Mrs. X, right? That was actually good stuff. It was actually pretty good stuff. She did an extended run on Deadpool. I think we need somebody with a even more unique, distinct, and bolder take, and something fresher than what even Kelly Thompson would deliver. And I'm a huge Kelly Thompson fan. Jim and the Holograms, and I'm very, very excited for her upcoming Buffy and Angel. I actually just had her on the show a couple of months ago to talk about those books, so you should check out that show if you never have. What's the Midnight Universe even about? So it's basically this. Imagine your favorite Marvel characters being reimagined in a completely new way in a world that's like solely built on evil and chaos, right? So everything is so much darker. Sounds like the Absolute Universe, doesn't it? Yeah. So like in the Midnight X-Men, it's written by Hickman, and the X-Men are vampire hunters, or something, right? So it's going to be playing off of the whole Dracula X-Men lore, which I really like. So I'm actually kind of excited for the book, but I just don't know if it's going to, I just don't trust that it's going to have the impact commercially and critically the way Marvel really is, I'm sure, expecting it to be. Benjamin Percy is doing the Fantastic Four one, I think, and I think they're going body horror on that one. And I think that's the one Percy's working on. And then the other one is Philip Kennedy Johnson. I think that's the Spider-Man one. And I don't necessarily know what the take is, but they're all like horror. It's like a horror-infused universe within the Marvel Omniverse. Marvel and DC stay ripping off each other for decades. Yes, they do. One has some success. Everybody tries to copy it. But what's crazy is that what Marvel does really well, DC rarely does well. What DC does well, Marvel rarely does well. And like the best thing DC does as a publisher, in my opinion, is keep milestone, evergreen, perennial books in print indefinitely. Marvel doesn't do that. Why is Maximum Carnage not something easily accessible at any shop and anybody can reorder it like that and have a copy of Maximum Carnage? Why not? It's seriously something people would buy. Sunday mornings, we're easy. Sunday evenings, we rock. What's up, DB Scum? How you doing? Absolute Batman 23. It's fire. It's still firing on all cylinders. Yeah, Dylan couldn't decide on a movie to review, so I suggested Match. Yeah, I kept trying to convince him to do The Kindred. I work too much, usually sleeping right now. Man, I feel that. I fell off ASM when they had JR doing the art after Nick Spencer's run and haven't felt compelled to go back. Honestly, it's not super exciting. They're doing this new shit now where May has like a son that she thought she had miscarried and like died during birth, and turns out that wasn't the case. And so this guy like grew up and he's rich, and now he's reconnected with May and it's making Peter jealous. And that's the big build up to issue 1000, y'all. That's the big build up to issue 1000. Crazy. Dr. Wargod says ASM is not that bad right now. Not outstanding, but the current writer writes a good Parker. Yeah, Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly's a very good writer. But it's just not, it doesn't have the impact that Amazing Spider-Man really needs right now. Chicago, Schultze is in the house. Been a minute. Long time no see. Good to see you here. God, I miss the smell of you guys. It's really like PCP. What's up, Chill Out Man? Yeah, Kelly's doing Buffy and Angel. I'm very, very, very excited. One love from Chicago. Oh, yeah, Thompson has some good solid runs at Marvel. My favorite run of hers at Marvel is Hawkeye. She did Kate Bishop Hawkeye run that kind of has a coda of sorts in her West Coast Avengers run, which is where she created Jeff the Land Shark. So she does all the Jeff the Land Shark stuff, or most of it. She did a Black Widow series. That was pretty good. She did Captain Marvel for a while. I didn't really vibe with that one as much as her other work, but yeah. Nine Panel Grid says X-Men needs something akin to what Morrison did for the title. Be bold, push the envelope. Exactly. That's exactly what Hickman did with Hoxpox. But the problem is Marvel didn't follow through. Marvel leaning into horror makes me think they have a fundamental misunderstanding of what is making the Absolute books work. I agree, because what's making the Absolute books work to me is the talent. It's the talent and it's the consistency in the presentation. That it's reinterpreting these characters that appeal more to, like genuinely appeal more to like 20-year-olds today, right? And also having it feel familiar to what 20-year-olds are into today, right? Yeah. So I think that, yeah, Marvel's got to be, they think that the answer is dark, right? Like, because it's darker, it's edgier. So that's what they're going to push for, but that's not what it is. What it is it's these creators being allowed to create and them actually creating in a way that resonates with audiences. I saw like something from the new Wolverine game. I'm not really a modern gamer at all. So I think somebody showed me something. Looked cool, but like I just my Wolverine game is the one for the NES, man. The platformer. I've never beaten it, but I'm still plodding along. I've been playing that game for 35 years, man. I gotta check out the Wonder Woman 2-shot origin going in. I hear good things. Wonder Woman 2-shot origin. What are you talking about, War God? Back in the day, DC always discovered the fresh new talent, but Marvel made them stars. Yeah, that's actually, I mean, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld. I think Jim Lee was Marvel first. There's some BS that I can't books. I don't understand what that means, Gun. Were you ever into Joe Kelly's X-Men run in the late 90s? Yes. I was super into Joe Kelly's run on the X-Men in the late 90s. He was doing X-Men while Steven Seagle was doing Uncanny X-Men. For the most part, Steven Seagal's Uncanny X-Men, he was working with Chris Bachalo, and Joe Kelly worked with a whole bunch of different artists, including somebody Garcia, and I really liked that artwork. I really liked their run, and they were building up to something big and bold, and Marvel didn't want to go that big and that bold, and they basically fired them and replaced them with Alan Davis for a shitty run that eventually tanked everything so bad that they had to get Grant Morrison and Joe Casey to come in and just redo everything. But what's crazy is Joe Casey was doing Cable at the time. These are some of the origins of Man of Action, the creators of Ben 10, and did a lot of work on like a lot of Marvel animated shows. But Man of Action is Duncan Rouleau, Joe Casey, Joe Kelly, and Stephen T. Siegel. And they were all working in the X office around the same time, being miserable. And they decided to commiserate together, and they wound up banding together and being very successful with Man of Action, and of course creating Ben 10. What's up, Cantonese Comic Kid? How you doing? Good to see you here. If y'all like Vampirella, check him out for sure. That sounds pretty bad with the surviving miscarried cousin angle. Yeah, kind of, right? I just read Dead Man #3 last night, and it was damn good. Yes, it was. That was my pick of the week, man. It's like, so going through the layers of hell, representing other ideas and concepts and mythologies about hell, but also W. Maxwell Prince putting in his very distinct existential dread into it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What's up, Big Herm? Well, you're not going to have to miss this for too long. We'll be doing this for a minute here and there. No, the impact's not there, but the Peter's anguish from the interpersonal problems really comes across to me. Right, I could dig that. It was nice to see the Midnight Suns helping Moon Knight, and the horror of Godzilla took the Kaisei era to another level. Great stuff. Yeah. Moon Knight has been fantastic. It's been so good. It's been good, but it is hitting a whole other level right now. And this is technically, I think, issue 62 of the McKay run. But now that we have Dev Prominent on the artwork, it's just really soaring. And yeah, the Midnight Suns, Blade in particular, I love the way Jed's writing Blade, and I love the way Dev is envisioning and bringing that vision to life. Blade, that character. And in the newest issue, he gets Chainsaw, and that was pretty dope. It was pretty dope. You know, Kevin Feige doesn't know what the fuck to do with Blade, but, you know, Jed McKay and Dev Prominent do. Thought Minor Arcana was really strong this week. I dropped out of that one. Decided I'd just wait and finish it once it's done because I missed it 1 week or something. But I was really liking that book. Yo, check out the Wolverine game. The trailer is insane with the 7-minute gameplay, very violent. I remember the violent one that came out, that first Wolverine movie with Hugh Jackman. There was a pretty good game that came out then. I guess that probably would have been like PS3 era or something. Will DC eventually foul up Absolute or dilute it with too many titles? Seems to happen with every big sales wave. Yeah, Damien, of course, that's going to happen. But I think it might be a minute. They've been very smart by not overloading it too much yet. But we shall see. Because Green Arrow was supposed to be a 6-issue series, but due to the sales success, which is tremendous, it's been elevated to 12. Same thing happened with Martian Manhunter. I know Catwoman is meant to be a limited series, but so far it's working. But I think they've done a good job right now of not oversaturating it and also doing things to keep people anchored into DCU proper. That, yeah, I think it's going to last a little bit longer than your typical, like the Ultimate books after 2 to 3 years, the first wave of Ultimate books. After 2 to 3 years, they kind of were already over it, right? And then they really didn't know what to do. So when it's really going to get diluted, I think, is not with too many titles, but when the main creators kind of go off and do their own thing and they're bringing in secondary teams that may not be able to pay off the expectation of the audience. Like if Nick Dragotta is off Absolute Batman and Snyder leaves Absolute Batman and they bring in somebody who's just then that could be it. What's up, chill, man? Don't feel bad, Robbie. I haven't beaten the Wolverine NES game either. Yeah, a few of us have, man. Yeah, I'm keeping up with the Vampirella run right now. I'm liking it, but I haven't read all of Priest's run, and it's incredibly convoluted and melodramatic. But I am kind of digging it, though. I really am. Oh, Stephanie Williams is retelling the Wonder Woman origin in issues 35 and 36. Oh, we'll see. Why do we need to retell the Wonder Woman origin? Top 5, Twisted Nerve, The Collector, I, Madman, The Snow Woman, and Colony. Well, William, those are movies not only have we never covered, I've never seen them. I've never even heard of them except for I, Madman. Write those down. Twisted Nerve, The Collector. Maybe we'll do a poll or something. Snow Woman. Is that like Deer Woman? Deer Woman's awesome. Cool. All right. Thoughts on Brand New Day? Oh, here we go. All right. Yeah, I watched Spider-Man Brand New Day. I thought it was good. I liked it. I thought it was fine. Pros. This is what I really liked about the movie. Tom Holland was amazing. Tom Holland's amazing in the movie. And there's a lot of emotional depth to what Peter's going through. And it's realized very well by him. Also, Zendaya, as is that her name? Plays MJ. She's awesome. Yep. Frank Castle cracks me up. His dynamic with Peter is so perfect in Brand New Day. I absolutely love that, right? Because they PG him down a little bit, but he still maintains his edge. But what's really important to me is the emotional anchor. There's a moment in there where he's like, you think this is something to enjoy? This isn't life. This is a sentence. I don't know. I really liked Frank in the story. What I didn't like about it, Sadie Sink's character. It's a weird way to introduce that character to me. I don't want to spoil it, but I just thought that was a little weird. But then the more I think about it, maybe it's got good emotional weight that could potentially be something. But anyway, what ultimately becomes the true villain of the piece? Weird stretch, bro. Weird stretch. Not exciting at all to me. Not exciting that the big villain of the movie is that guy. And I'm like, get out of here. That's so boring and dull. It didn't really work for me. It didn't land. It's very long, too. The movie feels long to me. It really, really does. The Hulk stuff was all right. It was fine. But I like the Punisher stuff better. The Hand was undercut. The Hand's built up to be such a badass thing, and then they just kind of get dealt with so easily. So many things got dealt with so easily in here. I wanted more Scorpion. I definitely wanted more Tombstone. So yeah, I thought it ran a little bit long, and I thought that it was a little clunky with its usage of villain and Sadie Sink's character. Outside of that, though, I did like it. I I think I would land at a 3 or a 3.5. So I will go a 3.369 is what I would rate Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I know is not a popular opinion because a lot of people are saying this is the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time, but I think a lot of people feel like they're supposed to say that. I did like it. I think it's better than what's the second one of Tom Holland? There was Homecoming, which I love. And then there was something. Homecoming, something. And then No Way Home. What was the second one called? I don't know. But the second one was Mysterio. I think it's better than that one. I'll tell you that. So there are things I really liked and some things that I didn't like about it as much. But a 3.369 is a pretty good rating, I would say, out of 5. My favorite movies this year that I've seen, Odyssey and Obsession, top 2 right there. The single issue retro flip throughs you did were cool too. Marvel in the 90s, I think. So many comics to cover, old and new. Yeah, I would love to bring back something like Marvel in the 90s again. It was part of what I'm planning if we do the Rockin Robbie Live in the future with guests, is actually doing flip throughs live, because I just need a webcam. I need a new webcam. I got the extra mic. I got the right thing. So am I a terrible person? I just can't get into Moon Knight. You're not a terrible person. You don't have to get into Moon Knight. That's fine, homie. Did you know there's a lot of hate for the Fraction Batman run? Doesn't surprise me. There was a lot of love for it in the first 6 issues, and then it kind of slowed up a little bit. I still like it, but not as much as I had been liking it. Minor Arcana has been super solid. Sad it's ending soon. I am not still reading Conan. I'm not still reading Deadpool by Benjamin Percy. I did drop it, but there is about to be a crossover with Punisher, so I'll probably try to get caught up for that because I've only missed a couple. Juan Ferreira has been killing it on Absolute Superman. Juan Ferreira kills it on any book he does. In fact, if Marvel was ever smart enough to let me write Blade for 5 years, Juan would be my preferred artist for my run. Chill Out Man says, maybe I'm out of touch. I'm very old. I'm very 40 and very American. And the only story I'm into lately is One World Under Doom. So I didn't really like One World Under Doom that much. I'm 45. I'm American. I'm old. I don't know. Have you tried Absolute Martian Manhunter? Twitch says, I finally beat Spider-Man and the X-Men Arcade's Revenge. I love that. Super Nintendo. That was on Super Nintendo in particular. That's my one. That's my one. Yeah, Frank Castle's in the new Spider-Man. In fact, a lot of Frank Castle. Way more Frank in the movie than I thought. There's a lot of people that are in the movie for a very brief time, but Frank is actually a major character in the movie. Yeah, I love The Odyssey. That's my favorite movie of the year. I'm a mark for The Odyssey. I'm a mark for Christopher Nolan. I'm a mark for this movie. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. I went and saw it at 10 a.m. on a Sunday in a packed IMAX theater. I got no drink and no popcorn, no soda, no candy, no nothing. And I sat through 3 hours without getting up to go to the bathroom. I'm loving John Bernthal's Punisher and Spider-Man and Daredevil. I got to get caught up on Daredevil. I only watched the first 2 seasons of Daredevil, honestly. Dead Man, it's also kind of funny. Yes, just like Ice Cream Man, right? Robbie, thanks for the news. I'm going to watch Spider-Man after Rockin' Robbie Live. Y'all send those super chats. Yeah, super chats are open. I even loaded up the Hellboy song just in case. Some panels are funny, I think. I agree. Yeah. Ice Cream Man has the same kind of thing. There's this like undercurrent of like humor as well, which I love. Just showing more love for I, Madman. It's an excellent double feature with Robert Englund's Phantom of the Opera. That's a good idea. Far From Home. That's what it was. Thank you. I knew I had home in the title. That one just didn't work for me, man. Like, I like No Way Home. I do, but I just thought Homecoming's dope. But like, I hate the Garfield ones. I don't like Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2. I do have a slight affection for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. And of course, I love 1 and 2. I would say the best Spider-Man movie is either Sam Raimi's first one. I know, not popular. Everybody loves 2 over 1, but I actually love 1 over 2. And it's either that or Homecoming for me, man. I think Homecoming is fucking a near perfect Spider-Man movie for me. I thought it was outstanding. Talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day, says Dr. War God. Sadie is a good, very young, very vulnerable version of that character. Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, everybody's correcting me now. I love that. The more I think about it, the more I do like it, but it was just a weird. Chill out, man. I don't know if I want to hear a terrible YouTube joke, but you're gonna say it anyway. People are really loving that Spider-Man movie, though. When I went to the theater today, to watch Toy Story. Toy Story 5, because we're doing a Toy Story franchise review tomorrow night. We should be taking the week off and preparing for the start of Horror Fest, but we're doing the Toy Story franchise. Luckily, 5 was still in the theater here. And I thought that this movie came out in the middle of June. And here we are, like, approaching the middle of August. So I'm like, this has almost been out for 2 months. Surely, especially with Spider-Man and the Odyssey and all that other shit out, like, surely. Nope. Still a little bit of a crowded theater with kids. That's what I hate. I hate watching movies. I hate watching kid movies in the theater. I really do, y'all. I hate watching kids movies in the theater. You know why? Because kids are the fucking worst. They have the worst movie theater etiquette of anybody. 5 backlogs from Herm. Chill Out Man says, almost everyone loves the movie Obsession, and rightfully so. But I know one person who can't stand Obsession. Alex Mayer. I'm sorry, that's not nice. I don't even know who that is. No, Dr. War God. My IMAX theater is what is called the Limax. It's not an actual full IMAX theater. We used to have one of those at the Rocket Center, Space and Rocket Center, but they turned that to a planetarium. So we have a Limax where it's good, but it's not true IMAX. It's Limax. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, Absolute Manhunter is. John Bernthal is the best Spider-Man. I love Ice Cream Man too. Spidey film has 2 cutscenes. All right. Blood Splatter Chatter, one of our partners in Horror Fest, which is about to be reviewed in a few minutes. We're about to take a break. I'm trying to get through the end of the chat here. I take first Raimi Spidey over Spidey 2. What's up, y'all? See? Verno, I feel the same way. There's something so classic about that first one. Something about Willem Dafoe, Harry. Like, I love all 3 of them, to be honest with you. I even really do love Spider-Man 3. But it is a weird story. I love SummerSlam. Night 2 was the shit. Night 1 was solid, but Night 2 was it, man. I really, really liked SummerSlam. I agreed. Robbie says, chill out, man. Sam's Part 1 and Homecoming. I love that, man. Damien with Super Chat. Fuel for keeping the Tuesday review show going. Well, thank you so much for that. And I really hope that this works out for y'all, because usually, because I'm using StreamYard right now, my OBS has gotten weird. It's not like working with my YouTube properly. So I don't know what's going on there, but I hope that this works for y'all. Sleeper Eater, thank you so much for the super chat. It really inspires us, and it keeps the lights on, and it keeps that Wednesday or that Tuesday review going. Thank you so much. Show some love. You can always throw a super chat out. We can appreciate it. All right, I might be a little rusty. It's been a minute, y'all. I'm gonna need some help. I need some backup. I want to hear y'all sing along. Come on, shout it to the hilltops. Let's go. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was into the earth from a long time ago to save it or destroy. Rock the wizard, I rescued him. Son of a demon, and I'm not a fool. I go sex with a demon. That was fun as shit, y'all. I haven't done that in a minute. I hope you can hear me. I hope it was on a beat too. I get nervous about the StreamYard. All right. Thank you so much for that super chat. We really do appreciate it. We are taking a quick break. And when we come back, y'all, we're going to be revealing the full lineup of HorrorFest 2026, y'all. We'll be right back here on Rockin Robbie Live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back here to Rockin Robbie Live on a Sunday night. The return of Rockin Robbie Live, not the final episode. We are going to continue on doing new things, doing things like this, just chatting, connecting over our shared love of pop culture here on Rockin Robbie Live. All right. We had a great conversation already, talking about movies, talking about comic books. That was awesome. That was old school, right? And then we had the Hellboy song because of the generous super chat from Sleepy Reader 666 Breaker 119 Echo Bravo. What the fuck is wrong? All right, so we did the Hellboy song. That was so funny. So, like, if we're keeping the old school vibes alive, y'all, let's throw it back. You ready? Y'all ready for this? Station. How about a Kid Cudi station? There you go. All right. Let's keep it even more old school.
Now, I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
There you go. All right. Joko says, brand new day is an amazing action flick. Lots of setup action scenes that were fun and all the comic book recreations that I think I missed most of them. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I like 3.369 is good. You know, I mean, after watching it again, I mean, when I first came out, I was like maybe a 3, but I'm in between a 3 and a 3.5, and I don't like being in between a 3 or a 3.5 without a 69. That's just how I roll. All right. Time for the Horror Fest reveal. Y'all know me. I'm a big horror movie fan. And Horror Fest, to me, it's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be chainsaws mowing and blood will be flowing and times will be terrible with fear. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Off the dome, y'all. All right. We have 6 channels involved in Horror Fest this year. And we're staggering everybody coming in so we don't overwhelm you at first. And it's going to be so fun. And we are truly realizing a dream and a passion of mine, which is to have near daily coverage of horror films throughout the network of PCP Movie Night, all during October. And we have 2 themed weeks. So that means 1 week, every channel is spotlighting a horror icon. And that icon we picked for this year's first spotlight ever is Tom Savini. So everybody will be doing a Tom Savini movie during what we have dubbed Savini Week. Then a little bit after that, we have also decided to spotlight horror films from other countries outside of the United States. We spotlight horror from tons of different places. But this year we're doing something very special. We're giving you 6 shows within 1 week, and each show is a movie from a different country outside of the United States, and we're not repeating countries. Some of these movies, I guarantee you probably have not heard of, because that includes me. And you probably definitely have not seen them, and that includes me. So I'm ready. So here we go. I see Fable out there in the chat. I see Verno out there in the chat. Two Gun Pedro was out there in the chat with a Horror Fest is my jam. It's my jam too, son. And let's get into it. All right, y'all. We're going to start it off with the trailer. This trailer was put together by my man Verno from Blood Splatter Chatter. I sent him some voiceover. He requested a little bit more voiceover. He put together amazing shit. So every movie that you see is something that is represented on Horror Fest. So I'm going to play this trailer, which will take away our monetization, because I played the trailer on the weekly comic book review, and then I woke up in the morning and they were like, yep, demonetized. It's something about the music or something. I don't care. Horror Fest is worth it. However, that was the weekly comic book review. That really sucks. It's probably like a quarter of our YouTube revenue for the month gone. However, Horror Fest is worth it. So Damien, that's extra thank you for the Hellboy song and the what do we call it? Super chat. That's what we call it. All right. So anyway, I want everybody to really focus in. Verno from Blood Splatter Chatter killed it on our Horror Fest trailer. Here we go. It's time for the most expansive, most comprehensive, and most bone-chillingly terrifying Horror Fest of all time.
It's got a death curse.
This fall, across 6 channels, we'll be reviewing 69 movies that will truly blow your horror-craving mind.
No, don't do that!
We have you covered almost every night of the week as we dive into cult classics, forgotten wonders, modern masterpieces, and movies you've never heard of from places you've never been. So come and celebrate the darker side of cinema and unleash your inner horror fun. It all starts August 17th on PCP Movie Night with the Omen franchise, and it all ends on Halloween night with Night of the Demon. It's all happening on Pop Culture Philosophers, Dylan's Horror Show, Blood Splatter Chatter, One Collection Down, Heroes for Hire Comic Club, and Metal Elf Collectibles. Be sure to sub up to each and every one of these channels so you don't miss a single terrifying episode. Man, oh man, do I love that trailer. It's so nice, so clean, so good, so perfectly edited together. Verno, you outdid yourself. You do deserve a raise. So how about we take your pay and we double it from 0 to 0? Because 0 times 2 is 0. So how about that? Now, everybody really give a shout out to Verno, man, because that is awesome. Very awesome. All right, now it's time for the full reveal. It starts August 17th, as the trailer says, with the Omen franchise. It ends Halloween night with Night of the Demons. But here's the full lineup, y'all. Whew. I'm so excited for this. All right, this is the way it breaks down. Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time, that's PCP Movie Night. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time is Metal Elf Collectibles. Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time are going to be Heroes for Hire Comic Club. Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time is Blood Splatter Chatter. Friday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time is One Collection Down. Saturday is the one day that we are taking Horror Fest off, except for Halloween night when we end it with Night of the Demons. And then Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time, Dylan's Horror Show. So we're going to stagger it. We start with me, Dylan, and Verno. Then we add in Matt over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club in September, and we're doing 4 nights a week. And then in October, we add in Fable from One Collection Down. We add in Chad from Metal Elf Collectibles, and we are doing shows Monday through Friday every night. And then that final week, we do it all 7 days, including Halloween night, which is Saturday night. We end it all with Night of the Demons. So, we already said we start with the Omen franchise, so let's get into it. It all starts with the Omen franchise. All of the Omen movies. And we're talking The Omen, Damien, Omen 2, Omen 3, Final Conflict, The Omen, The Awakening, The Omen remake, and The First Omen. We'll be talking about those movies. That's August 17th. And then we got Blood Splatter Chatter entering the fray with Sleepaway Camp and Sleepaway Camp 2. He's going to be looking at both of these films. Cannot wait for that. And then wrapping up that first week, Sinners, one of the most well-respected and well-received and critically acclaimed horror movies of the modern era. So that's your first week right there. Then, Phantasm over at PCP Movie Night. We've done the Phantasm franchise, but we've never done just the first Phantasm movie, which I think deserves a solo look all in on its own. Then Blood Splatter Chatter on that following Thursday is going to take place, or is going to be tackling Prince of Darkness from John Carpenter. I don't think we had a John Carpenter. No, we have another John Carpenter on here. So that's at least 2 John Carpenter films, unless I'm forgetting one. Then for Dylan's Horror Show, we're talking about The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Never seen this movie, never heard of it. Very interested to see what's going to happen there. PCP Movie Night, Horror of Dracula. That's the Christopher Lee Hammer Dracula film. And then we're in September at this point, y'all. That means Matt from Heroes for Hire Comic Club is joining us, and his first show will be Videodrome. I love this movie so much that anytime somebody covers it, I gotta be there, man. All right, then we got Blood Splatter Chatter. They're going to be talking about Battle Royale, which is actually our man Stu's pick over there. Then we got Companion over at Dylan's Horror Show. I've heard a lot about this movie. I want to see it. Very excited. Then on PCP Movie Night, how about Motel Hell? I have been planning on covering this movie for years, and we've never gotten it done, but now we're doing it. Then over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club, we got The Fog, John Carpenter's original 1980 classic. I think that movie is brilliant. Then at Blood Splatter Chatter, Identity, starring John Cusack. That's not Gary Busey, but it's Gary Busey's son, Jake Busey, right there. Identity is an interesting movie. I believe this one is Steph's pick. Then over at Dylan's Horror Show, Hokum, which is another modern horror movie that I hear a lot of good things about. Something I am very excited for is when we cover Suitable Flesh on PCP Movie Night. This is directed by Joe Lynch. It is based on the next film that Stuart Gordon was developing to work on before he tragically passed away. It's got Heather Graham in a career resurging performance. Also Barbara Crampton. That movie is dope. I cannot wait to talk about it. Then we got Night of the Creeps over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club. They are celebrating an anniversary of this movie this year, especially over at Scarefest. They got like a whole crew coming along, including the director of the film, Fred Decker, and of course the star of the film, Tom Atkins. So if you're going to go to Scarefest or you want to be involved in that, check it out. I'll be there. Then over at Horror Fest for Blood Splatter Chatter that week, we're going to be doing a double feature, Killer Clowns from Outer Space and Demons by Lamberto Bava. Like, what 2 different movies, but it makes a lot of sense to put them together as a double feature. Then we're going to be talking about David Cronenberg's The Brood over at Dylan's Horror Show. We covered this on PCP Movie Night for Horror Fest a few years ago. Awesome. And we got to do some Argento. So we got to do Phenomena. We've never done this film. It's one of the few Argento films we haven't done, and probably one of the last really great films of his that we haven't done. But Phenomena, that's our Argento pick for PCP Movie Night for Horror Fest. Then over at Matt's channel, Heroes for Hire Comic Club, they'll be tackling Midsummer. Of course, a lot of us have talked about that movie. It's a great one. And then over at Blood Splatter Chatter, he'll be talking about Suspiria. But it's the 2018 Suspiria that is, of course, a remake and a reimagining, if you will, of the Dario Argento classic. Then Dylan's Horror Show is going to be talking about The Guest. Not familiar with this movie. But then, how about Society? Over at PCP Movie Night, y'all, Brian Usna, I'm so excited for this movie. It's absolutely great, right? Then we got Something Wicked This Way Comes over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club. And then how about Nightmare on Elm Street, the original 1984 classic over at Blood Splatter Chatter. We are now in October, where we have Fable and Chad joining us. And Fable joins that first Friday in October with Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Very, very excited for that. Then we start Savini Week. So this is our spotlight on horror icon, Tom Savini. That's Sunday night of Savini Week. We're going to be talking about Friday the 13th, the original classic, which has special effects makeup from Tom Savini. Then the following Monday, we'll be talking about The Burning on PCP Movie Night, which also has amazing special effects work from Tom Savini. Then Chad's first entry is for Savini Week, and it's Planet Terror from Robert Rodriguez, in which Tom Savini is an actor. Then we've got Night of the Living Dead, the original, or not the original, but the 90 remake that was directed by Tom Savini. So a movie that was directed by Tom Savini. And then over at Blood Splatter Chatter, Day of the Dead, which in my opinion might be the greatest special effects makeup in a horror movie and the best work that Tom Savini has ever done. And then we wrap up Savini Week over at One Collection Down with From Dusk Till Dawn. And if you know, you know, you know, you know. There you go. All right. Then we got Dylan's Horror Show. He's going to be talking about Resident Evil. We're going to be tackling the new one from the director of Barbarian and Weapons, Resident Evil. Very excited. This is going to be brand new, but we got to go right back to the classic Universals. And this time we're talking about Werewolf of London. 1935 werewolf film is actually, I believe, the first werewolf film. A lot of us think of the Wolfman, but this predates it. So this is going to be an interesting movie to tackle. Then over at Metal Elf Collectibles, Black Friday, just to scratch that Bruce Campbell itch before we get into even more so of that. And then Matt over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club, they're going to be talking about Weapons, one of the greatest movies of 2025, in my opinion. In my opinion, the best movie of 2025. Then we've got It Follows over at Blood Splatter Chatter. I've never seen this movie, but I've heard so many great things about it. One Collection Down is tackling one of my favorite films of this year, Obsession. I love how we are doing modern horror classics and we're doing the old school stuff too. Then the next week is what we're calling Horror Without Borders. This is what I was telling you, where everybody is picking a different movie from a different country. It's all going to start off that Sunday night, Horror Without Borders, with When Evil Lurks, the original Spanish classic. So from Spain, When Evil Lurks. On PCP Movie Night, we're doing Mystics in Bali, which is a Thai film. I've never watched this movie, but I saw it covered on In Search of Darkness Volume 3, and I put it on my list, and I needed to cover it. So we're going to be talking about Mystics in Bali for Horror Without Borders. How about Chad over at Metal Elf Collectibles talking about The Johnsons, which is a Dutch horror film I've never heard of. And then from Italy, how about Lucio Fulci's Zombie, aka Zombie 2? That's going to be over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club. Mads is what Blood Splatter Chatter is doing for Horror Without Borders, and that is a French film. And then we have a Korean film from Fable over at One Collection Down, A Tale of Two Sisters. And then we're in the final week of Horror Fest. I told you we're doing 7 shows Monday or Sunday through Saturday, which is Halloween night. So it all starts the final week, Sunday night, late night with the devil over at Dylan's Horror Show. Then on Monday night, we've got the Hatchet franchise over at PCP Movie Night, all 4 Hatchet films, Hatchet 1, Hatchet 2, Hatchet 3, and Victor Crowley. Then we got the Reanimator franchise on that Tuesday over at Metal Elf Collectibles, and then that Wednesday over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club, the Werewolf by Night Halloween special from Marvel Studios, which is just a fantastic movie. Thursday night, Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O. That is a brilliant double feature that they're putting together over at Blood Splatter Chatter. And then Friday night, the Friday before Halloween, the Evil Dead franchise, the entire franchise of the Evil Dead, all 6 films reviewed over at One Collection Down. And then it all wraps up Halloween night on PCP Movie Night with Night of the Demons. This will be a special 6 p.m. Central show so that everybody has time to enjoy the show and also enjoy some after party festivities. So there you go. There is the lineup, y'all. 69 movies, 2.5 months, 69 movies across 51 shows, across 6 channels. And we're spotlighting Tom Savini and we're spotlighting horror without borders. Let's run through that one more again. It's time for the most expansive, most comprehensive, and most bone-chillingly terrifying horror fest of all time.
It's got a death curse.
This fall, across 6 channels, we'll be reviewing 69 movies that will truly blow your horror-craving mind.
No, don't do it!
We have you covered almost every night of the week as we dive into cult classics, forgotten wonders, modern masterpieces, and movies you've never heard of from places you've never been. So come and celebrate the darker side of cinema and unleash your inner horror fun. It all starts August 17th on PCP Movie Night with the Omen franchise, and it all ends on Halloween night with Night of the Demon. It's all happening on Pop Culture Philosophers, Dylan's Horror Show, Blood Splatter Chatter, One Collection Down, Heroes for Hire Comic Club, and Metal Elf Collectibles. Be sure to sub up to each and every one of these channels so you don't miss a single terrifying episode. Heck yeah, y'all. Let's see what y'all think about the lineup. I hope y'all like it. Let's see. I lost the chat. Here we go. There's Fable right there. Blood Splatter Chatter right there. Horrorfest is better to watch than a Cowboys game. You know, I might agree with you on that one. Vern said he thought I died. I say, if you ain't seen any blood splatter, then there ain't no reason to chatter. International. Yeah, man. We went super international. I'm very excited. Spain, Thailand, the Netherlands, Italy. And I didn't pick the Italian movie, just so y'all know. And then France and Korea. So that's super, super cool, man. I love that. Blood Splatter Chatter is fire, man. Verno totally killed it. Absolutely. Yeah, he did. It's got a death curse. Dope trailer. See, everybody give some flowers to this motherfucker. He's getting a pay raise. I think Monday Night Raw is actually still good. I watch them after the shows, man. The last one was really, really good. Loving Dylan's new logo. Well, you got to tell Dylan that because I don't think he likes it as much as you do, Two Gun. I think they're just doing the first film. Yeah, Blood Splatter Chatter just doing the first film. It's the University of Horror. It really is. John Cusack is working on a graphic novel called Momo. Very interesting. Can we redo Funhouse for an update in 1 year? Maybe. Why not? Yeah, Jennifer Connelly in Phenomena. Donald Pleasance as well. I think Verna wants to do Funhouse at some point. What's up, Ghetto Head? How you doing? So many bangers. I know, man. I know. Brotherhood of the Wolf would be a good one to add in. Is Speak No Evil horror? It's just, I know it's from another country because no Americans would die like that. I haven't seen that one yet. But Chill Out Man says that's a terrible joke. Night of the Demons was your first Linnea Quigley. I think that was my first Linnea Quigley movie as well. Yeah, no Mad Monster Party this year. Maybe next year, William. Yeah, and we'll be doing another look back show the following week on Blood Splatter Chatter like we did last year. We're going to try to get all 6 of the hosts together, hopefully, to talk about that. Yeah, 69 screams, y'all. Banger after banger. Horrorfest is bringing it this year. You just wait. I've already shared some of my crazy ass ideas with the crew for next year. Because I was like, well, how do we top this one? And I got a crazy idea. But we can't reveal that, obviously, until like a year from now. No Pea Soup Exorcist. We did do the Exorcist franchise a couple of years ago on PCP Movie Night. Yep, Sundays and Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays. The biggest horror fest ever. How's it work? Everyone watches their own movies at the same time? No. So what happens is we all watch the movie, and then the show is the conversation about the movie. Yes, S&E is definitely horror. What's S&E? I don't know what that is. Given that capitalism originates in the Netherlands, I would say Modern Life is a Dutch horror film. S&E. What am I thinking of? Why am I not thinking of this? I don't know. Anyway, in 30 minutes, Horror Fest never ends on Dylan's Horror Show or Blood Splatter Chatter, but in 30 minutes, we're going to be over at Dylan's Horror Show to talk about Match, which is a Tubi original film. Very excited for that. And then tomorrow night, we got the Toy Story franchise on PCP Movie Night. And then the following week, we kick off Horror Fest, the Omen franchise, Sleepaway Camp 1 and 2, Sinners, Phantasm, Prince of Darkness, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, Horror of Dracula, Videodrome, Battle Royale, Companion, Motel Hell, The Fog, Identity, Hokum, Suitable Flesh, Night of the Creeps, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and Demons, The Brood, Phenomena, Midsummer, Suspiria, The Guest, Society, Something Wicked This Way Comes, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Tales from the Dark Side, Friday the 13th, The Burning, Planet Terror, Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, From Dusk Till Dawn, Resident Evil, Werewolf of London, Black Friday, Weapons, It Follows, Obsession, When Evil Lurks, Mystics in Bali, The Johnsons, Zombie, Mads, A Tale of Two Sisters, Late Night with the Devil, the Hatchet franchise, the Reanimator franchise, Werewolf by Night, Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O, the Evil Dead franchise, and Night of the Demons. Very excited for Horror Fest this year. It is. Yes, and it is the new Resident Evil, which will be coming out, I think, 2 weeks before that show, so everybody has time to check it out. We have done Freddy versus Jason because twice, actually, not on its own, but we did the Friday the 13th franchise and included it, and we did the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and included it again. Sinners was a great movie, but didn't feel like a horror movie. I got some thoughts about Sinners. Speak No Evil. But that's not one we're doing. Aren't we doing When Evil Lurks? Is that the same movie? Is it called something else over here? Speak No Evil? I don't remember. I don't know what's going on, man. What's up, Matt? You just missed the big reveal, bro. You just missed the big reveal. But happy to see you here, man. Matt is up in the house. All right, we're going to go live on Dylan's Horror Show in about 30 minutes to talk about Match, which anybody can watch on Tubi. It's pretty cool. Oh, someone asked about, okay. Word. I got confused. All right, got a little bit of show and tell here. The majority of this is my Horror Fest package from Tucson Pedro. But before we get to that, my homie Phil hooked me up with this. He pulled a bunch of these in his blind bags. He got a lot of the Queen and Black blind bags, and he got the Mary Jane swimsuit Nakayama. And I thought that was pretty nice looking cover. So I was like, let's go for that. And then I was gifted this last night. We were chilling at the studio, and my homie Andrew from Comic Capsule. This is one of his exclusives. by Gene Young Lee of Absolute Batman issue number 22. Kind of a cool cover. So I appreciate that, Andrew. By the way, if anybody is into comic capsules, this is, and if you're not aware, this is what a comic capsule is. It opens up. You put the comic inside. You can hang it on a wall. You can put it in a back. They got different colors. This is a black, or this is a glow in the dark comic capsule. So this is a glow in the dark Venom cover that I love, that I had when I was a kid. So this all glows in the dark. But comic capsules, awesome. And if you are interested in getting anything from their website, use code PCP15. It's going to save you 15%. Also, Little Star Storage has a new uncollapsible comic book box. They sent me some. It's awesome. That link down there below too. PCP15 saves you 15% there. Also, in the description, there are links to every channel that is involved in Horror Fest. So if you could do me a huge favor and make sure that you're subbed up to all of those channels. Dylan's Horror Show, Blood Splatter Chatter, One Collection Down, Heroes for Hire Comic Club, and Metal Elf Collectibles. All right. Two Gun Pedro always sends me the coolest shit. He really, really does. And he really outdid himself yet again. Like, Two Gun Pedro with his Horror Fest packages is trying to keep up with Horror Fest, because Horror Fest keeps getting bigger and better, and his packages are too. But before that, he actually sent me a pre-Horror Fest package. And in that pre-Horror Fest package was some VHSs. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Y'all know that's one of my favorite films. So now I have this and The Shining with the same. I think my Full Metal Jacket's the same too. Oh, and Clockwork Orange. My Full Metal Jacket's in another room, but so it's the same format, and my Shining's the same too. Because they did all these Kubrick movies like this. So that's super freaking cool. Yeah, those capsules are fresh. Get you some. Use code PCP15. How about Godzilla versus the Sea Monster on VHS? How cool is that? I don't have any Godzilla films on VHS, so that's dope. A classic, Carnival of Souls. Have this on DVD. I actually want to get the Blu-ray Criterion, but that's super cool. That's a fucking classic movie. How about this? Dark Star? That's John Carpenter's first film, y'all. That's his first film. This movie's wild, man. Who wrote it? Dan O'Bannon, right? Yeah, the guy who wrote Alien. Dark Star. That movie's wild. And one of my favorite graphic novels and a movie that is just one of my favorite comic book adaptations, Ghost World. It's one of my top films of the year that it came out. Was that 2001 or something? Anyway, Ghost World. How freaking cool is that? So that was Two Guns pre-Horror Fest package. So let's look at the Horror Fest package. He gives me these little notes, and I love these notes. This is my favorite thing. He says, you know I'm a Soska fan. He's talking about the Soska sisters who directed American Mary, which is a movie that Two Gun recommended us that we did on DHS that I have just since fallen in love with, right? You know I'm a Soska fan, so I'm sending you a couple of my personal copies before you go see them. Because the Soska sisters are going to be at Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky this year. It's the week before Halloween. I will be there. Everybody should go there if you're a horror fan and you're around the area. So Two Gun, thank you so much for sending me your personal copies to make sure that I had a little bit more awareness of their work. But that is Rabid on Blu-ray, which is a remake of the Cronenberg film. And then this is a movie called Dead Hooker in a Trunk, which is their first film. I love American Mary, so I'm very, very excited to dive into those. And then this one has a note, says, saw this on your wish list. This is not a cheap movie, but I'm sending you my personal copy for you to review. Bruh, you're like too cool. Sending me personal copies. What have you done to Solange? I have heard about this movie. I've never seen it. So Two Gun, that is definitely working. Let me know. Would that work for March Madness? That'd be a good March Madness work. Like that would work for the theme, right? Let me know. This one, more Italian goodness. What have they done to your daughters? Wow, I don't know what this is, but I'm excited to check it out because if Two Gun sent it to me, it's going to be wild. All right, then we got some more VHS. So let's get into it. Rumpelstiltskin. Y'all remember this crazy shit? That's nuts. It's a scream come true. Rumpelstiltskin. How about some Larry Cohen? Q, the Winged Serpent. That's freaking awesome, y'all. I think I don't have a Larry Cohen film on VHS. How about Cronenberg's The Fly? Brilliant film. Brilliant film. Brilliant film. Here's one I've heard of, but I've never seen. Zoltan, Hound of Dracula. And this is the way to watch it, is on VHS. Two Gun Pedro knows what the hell is up, man. This was a movie that was a constant rental when I was younger. Dr. Giggles. I still don't like going to the dentist. Dr. Giggles. They get better. How about Ghost Story? Man, I love this movie. We covered this movie on Dylan's Horror Show. I love it. How about Chud? This is special to me because this is the movie review in which I met Chad and Matt, I believe. We covered some movies. Maybe not Chad, but definitely Matt and Jake from Hounds of Gore. Chud. That was a great, great show. This is cool because this is the grand finale of Horror Fest. How about Night of the Demons on VHS, man? Hell yeah. Oh yeah, I've definitely seen the graphic novel line from the 80s, all the different, yeah. I have a few of them, but I don't have all of them. That would be a cool collection. I don't think Dr. Giggles is a trilogy. The Dentist, they did, 2 of those, right? Yeah, that was a fable. That was a great experience, man. That's why Matt's involved in everything now. How about some Mario Bava? I love my Italian cinema. How about Hatchet for the Honeymoon? I've never seen that one. And then how about Barren Blood? So 2 Bava films on VHS. How freaking cool is that? The Night Flyer, and it's like a cool, like lenticular foily. It's not lenticular, right? Yeah, it's a foil, like version of the Night Flyer. So cool. Stephen King made for TV movie, right? And then I love the note on this one. This movie lives rent-free in our minds. Burial Ground. Burial Ground on VHS, y'all. This movie lives rent-free in our minds. It show does, man. Show does. All right. We're not done. The next stack of VHS is very special to me because they're Universal monster movies. And I love these things. So thank you so much, Two Gun Pedro. The Invisible Man's Revenge. Check that out. The Invisible Man's Revenge. And it's that classic Universal monster collection. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Oh my God, I love this packaging, and I want to collect all of them, and I have a lot of them now because of Two Gun Pedro. The Man-Made Monster with Lon Chaney Jr. How about The Raven? Great Bela Lugosi on the front there. The Raven movie poster right there. And then one of my favorite Universal monster movies ever, or Universal horror movies, not really a monster movie, is that right there. I don't think you can see that too well. But it's The Black Cat, and I got the Universal Classic Collection VHS of it, y'all. That's so freaking cool. I love The Black Cat. We're probably going to be covering that one for Horror Fest next year. So that was a great Horror Fest package from Two Gun Pedro. Killing it yet again and again. So Two Gun Pedro, I really love you. I appreciate you. Yeah, Burial Ground. Dylan's in the house. Says that's my favorite Italian movie. Yeah. What's up, Neighborhood Merc? This is too fun. Too fun to not do Rockin Robbie Live anymore. So don't worry, y'all. It's going to continue. We'll be back soon. But don't forget, man, Horror Fest. Let's run through that list one more time. And then we're going to wrap up here because We're about to do a match over at Dylan's Horror Show. Tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night is Toy Story. But let's get into the Horror Fest. That's right, Horror Fest, the Omen franchise, Sleepaway Camp 1 and 2, Sinners, Phantasm, Prince of Darkness, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, Horror of Dracula, Videodrome, Battle Royale, Companion, Motel Hell, The Fog, Identity, Hokum, Suitable Flesh, Night of the Creeps, Killer Clowns from Outer Space and Demons, The Brood, Phenomena, Midsummer, Suspiria, The Guest, Society, Something Wicked This Way Comes, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Tales from the Dark Side, Friday the 13th, The Burning, Planet Terror, Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, From Dusk Till Dawn, Resident Evil, Werewolf of London, Black Friday, Weapons, It Follows, Obsession, When Evil Lurks, Mystics in Bali, The Johnsons, Zombie, Mads, A Tale of Two Sisters, Late Night with the Devil, The Hatchet franchise, Reanimator franchise, Werewolf by Night, Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O, The Evil Dead franchise, and Night of the Demons. 51 shows across 6 channels over 3 months. Almost every night of the week for the biggest and best horror fest of all time. All right, y'all. Come and see us over at Dylan's Horror Show where the party continues. We are dipping out. We love you. Station. Pop, pop. Well, I guess now that we're almost officially in Horror Fest season, I can go pop, pop. Boo.
It's time for the most expansive, most comprehensive, and most bone-chillingly terrifying horror fest of all time.
It's got a death curse.
This fall, across 6 channels, we'll be reviewing 69 movies that will truly blow your horror-craving mind.
No, don't do that!
We have you covered almost every night of the week as we dive into cult classics, forgotten wonders, modern masterpieces, and movies you've never heard of from places you've never been. So come and celebrate the darker side of cinema and unleash your inner horror fun. It all starts August 17th on PCP Movie Night with the Omen franchise, and it all ends on Halloween night with Night of the Demons. It's all happening on Pop Culture Philosophers, Dylan's Horror Show, Blood Splatter Chadwick, One Collection Down, Heroes for Hire Comic Club, and Metal Elf Collectibles. Be sure to sub up to each and every one of these channels so you don't miss a single terrifying episode.